Hey, everybody. There's my banner. Hope you are having a wonderful Father's Day, and to all the fathers out there, happy Father's Day. I am a father and a grandfather, not a great grandfather. That'll be I don't think I'll make it, but you never know. Hey, uh, like I say, hope you all are having a wonderful day. Well, you may have noticed something, that I'm here alone. And Melody was supposed to be here this week. Okay, Melody contacted me not too awful long ago and instructed me that she wasn't going to be able to be here because her family had worked up something for Father's Day and she was expected to cook breakfast. So, therefore, I am here with you alone. But that's okay. We've had fun here before, just you and me. So we're going to do it again. Let's see. Having not planned anything for this, I'm just winging it, so forgive me. Love to have all of you here. Thank you very much for joining us. You can, as always, you can watch us on Instagram or Twitter or also YouTube or all sorts of places, or here on Facebook. Uh, I've been watching Skinwalker Ranch. The show is starting to get a little odd. I don't know what it is, but it seems like something is wrong. Like there's some conflict. Ever since Travis came back from his gig with the U.S. government, I've noticed some friction between him and Eric, and him and Brandon Fugel. And I think if Travis wasn't quite so popular on the show, they might have found something else for him to do, I think. But who knows? But it's interesting. Now, Brandon Fugel kind of put a, if you're not familiar with the show, he's the one that owns the ranch. And he kind of put a kink in the show here a little bit when he recently said that he would not approve any excavation on the mesa, which is where a lot of this stuff comes from. And he said that he will not allow them to excavate, won't allow them to dig it up. And I think that's what they would really have to do to see if there really is something there. So I don't know if that's going to happen. I kind of doubt it. Um, Now, I don't know. There may be some kind of restriction placed on them by the Indian Nation, by the federal government, on what they can or can't do there. So it's possible they're being told not to dig by the government. So that makes you wonder if there really is anything there. The show is starting to sound more and more like Blind Frog Ranch, which I stopped watching it because it got kind of silly. There was a thing over where they were looking for gold in that giant reservoir they found underground, and he said his son down there just about got killed from the way it sounded. And then they discovered, pardon me, then they discovered that somebody had already dug into that from the other side. So, and then everything was gone. So, now why that didn't kill the show, I really don't know, because I was like, oh, okay, well. I was surprised they even continued the show after that. We have a comment. Um, Melody is trying to get Richard going for the show. I don't know what's going on, whether he's busy or, like I say, I don't know what's going on, but she's working on it. He has been more receptive in the past to coming on, so he may be busy with his professional things that he does. So it's possible that it may be there may be some conflict with that where they don't want him doing other things. But we'll see. Hopefully we'll get him on here. But anyway, back to Skinwalker Ranch. I mean, I find the show interesting. Uh, and I don't. It seems reasonable that they're really trying to do this scientifically, but sometimes some of the stuff comes up. I don't know. I don't know. Oh, talking about current events. I don't know where to go with the Skinwalker Ranch because I'm not sure where they're headed with it. Because every week it seems like they're gonna find out something and then nothing happens. The rockets have worked out to that's kind of their fallback is launching rockets, but it doesn't seem to be doing anything. They did some interesting things that early in the season it looked like they were actually going to make some progress as to what was going on there, what was causing a lot of that, but I don't know, just hasn't happened. So hey, what do you think? Post something on Flak. Come on with me. That's the other thing. With Melody not doing the show, I could really use another guest host because it's much easier doing this if you're interacting back and forth with another person. It's difficult to do this, especially this morning when I wasn't aware that Melanie wasn't going to be here until the last minute. So it would be helpful if I had a backup, if nothing else. If I could contact you a half hour before the show and say, hey, help! Severe weather threat. Okay. I'm sorry. No severe weather threat here, so hopefully wherever you're at, it's okay. That's one of our commenters said there was a severe weather threat, but I don't know where. Is there a severe weather threat? Yep, see, now it's gone. See, this was the other one. How is Richard Halpern doing? So those were my two comments that I could talk about. I managed to use them for about a minute and a half. So more comments, please. I'm running out of things to say. I've been watching the Star Trek Strange New Worlds episode, which I was confused with the Stranger Things show. I'm like, wait a minute, Strange, okay. I like the show. To me, it is the only Star Trek playing. I didn't care for Picard. I liked the last couple episodes where they brought in the old people, but I didn't really care for the rest of the show, to be honest with you. I much preferred Strange New Worlds myself. That's because it seemed more like Star Trek to me. They're trying to do too much stuff with Discovery. I'd just soon Discovery go away. I'm That show doesn't do anything for me either. So Strange New Worlds, that Star Trek, all the rest of it, that cartoon stuff, not my cup of tea. Still watching. Although I'm coming to the last of this season, that's the thing I don't like about present television is they only do 6 episodes. You get so bored with it, but you can watch it a few times, but this is going to kill binge watching. The fact that these new shows only have 6 episodes. I mean, with binge watching, you need 20, 25, 30 episodes to watch, to binge watch. And a series, binge watching a series that only lasts 4 or 5 years, which is what they seem to do. I mean, you're only going to have 25 episodes total for the entire series. So that's going to kill them in terms of binge watchability. Binge watchability. So, what are we going to do about that? Well, I hope you're all having a nice Father's Day after the show ends, which I'm going to do a 30-minute show today, I can tell you. There's no way I can drag this out with nothing pre-planned for 30 minutes or for an hour. I can't do it. 30 minutes I can do. I can pretty much talk about anything for 30 minutes, but an hour. So we're going to have a half-hour fan Flak today. Hope that's okay. So what am I going to talk about now? Let's see. Van Flak, Rockets, Skinwalker Ranch. Those are actually my main things of interest. We're still working on that camera at work. We're shipping a lot of them out. A lot of people like it. Hi, Kim. See, hi, Mark. It was Kim. We're in, I'm happy there. So I'm glad they're still selling cameras because I don't want to retire. You know, a lot of people, they get up into their 60s, 70s, and they want to retire, but, like I lost my spouse a couple of years ago. So, it's hard to deal with that, because you're used to sitting there and chatting and talking and go to the store with that person. And my wife and I used to shop together a lot. That was our thing, was going shopping. And now I go by myself, or sometimes I'll take my grandkids. Depends on if they feel like going or not. My grandson likes to go. He likes to go places with Grandpa. He's a good kid. So's my granddaughter. My grandson has a few issues. Sometimes he gets mad a little easy, but we're working on that. He's getting out of it. And let's see. Trying to think of Knott's Berry Farm. I've been seeing a lot of stuff posted about Knott's Berry Farm. That they're starting to try to bring the entertainment back at Knott's Berry Farm. That's something I'm really unhappy with. Something I probably told you about is that I've got my annual pass back. Now, I used to have an annual pass for 17 years at Disneyland. I used to spend a lot of time at Disneyland, because the place I worked at was not too far from Disneyland. So from getting off of work to I could be there in a half an hour inside the park. Now I'm not so close. Now I'm all the way out in Lake Forest, which is by Irvine. And it takes me a little longer to get there. I've been working overtime. If I take off at 2:30, which is my normal quitting time, I could be at Disneyland probably by 3:30. Maybe a little later than that, but pretty close to 3:30. So, but then nowadays you got to park in the parking structure. You have to go through security, and I think there's two branches of security you have to go through. And then by the time you get into the park, it's probably an hour after you got there, or it's a while after you got there. So, but I'm gonna go to Disneyland, and what I used to do before is I didn't ride that many rides. I would go and I would watch the entertainment. Now, unfortunately, Disneyland has eliminated most of the entertainment at the park. They've cut their costs, and they got rid of all the bands. There used to be a Elvis Presley impersonator named Scott Bruce that used to appear at Tomorrowland Terrace. Well, now Tomorrowland Terrace is different now. It's just a stage. It doesn't go up and down anymore. So that's going to change his act a little bit, because he used to depend on that for some of his routine. So that'll be gone if he ever comes back. I haven't seen him listed as being entertainment there. The only thing they seem to have is this Star Wars dance party for kids. There's no adult entertainment. There's no rock and roll or anything like that I have seen. So if they're doing it, they're hiding it very well. Because like I say, I just don't see anything, and that's disappointing. Because to me, it was worth the cost of your pass for all of the entertainment you got. You just don't have that anymore. So it kind of detracts from what the value of the pass. Now, a lot of the rides are great, but they're really having a lot of trouble with keeping those rides functional, especially the ones over in Star Wars Galaxy's Edge. I don't know why they don't just call it Star Wars Land. Everybody else calls it Star Wars Land. Well, not everybody, but I do. So they're having trouble keeping, especially at Galaxy's Edge, they're having trouble keeping that thing running. And I can see why. It's a tremendously complicated ride. A lot of projection and computers, and I mean, one of them hiccups, that thing ain't working. But it's very impressive. I find it impressive anyway. So hopefully all of you are having a happy Disney day. Who else is at Disneyland watching podcasts? I doubt that very many of you are. My brain is just not coming up with stuff today. Here, let's see here. What else have I got? Now, I have buckets full of... Here. Just to talk about this for a few minutes. This is my projector mark, that too. I go out on Facebook quite a bit looking for scams that they're out there all the time. And the one this week is that Batmobile. This company, I start with a J, something dioramas, and they made this 1/6 scale Batmobile. It was very cool. And the two figures, the Batman and Robin, I mean, those look just like Adam West and Burt Ward. They're very well done. And the car is really cool. I mean, it's a great car, but you can't get it through the ad on Facebook. That's a complete and utter fraud. You know, if you get anything, you might get a little Hot Wheel car or something, but you're not going to get that 1/6 scale Batmobile. They stopped making that after the first run, and they sold out. And they sold for $1,500 each, not for $59 or $39, whatever the phony ad says. But they got bought out early on and moved on to eBay. And on eBay, they sell for like $3,000 for these things. All of these things you see on Facebook that are huge, impressive, complicated toys that people are selling you for $39, you're not getting it for $39. You're not. You know, don't, you know, you people aren't stupid. If you get on a computer, log on to a computer and look at this thing, you can tell there's no way a company can make that and sell it to you for $39. There's just no way that's happening. Those things cost thousands of dollars to develop. They have to be shipped here. They have to be manufactured and assembled. And, you know, there's no way that all can take place and sell it to you for $39.99. No way. They had a fancy Jeep. It was radio controlled. They had a radio controlled digging machine. That the same thing. And they had tanks. They had tanks that were big enough for a kid to ride on, and advertised for $39. You can't buy something like that for $39. You just can't. It's just not possible. So don't throw your money away. Just realize that's not something that can happen. And do some research. That's how I find out who makes all these things. I'm not a mind reader. I just take a picture of it. I get on Google image search and I search, and most of the time Google image search will turn up who actually manufactured it. There was one a while back with this dancing robot made by a company called NAO in France. And there was a company advertising that for $39. There's no way you could make a robot that could dance and sell it for that price. How? It can climb ladders and how are you going to do that? You're not. So just realize, like I say, realize when you see that stuff that it's just a ripoff. The hats. That's the other thing. The Indiana Jones hat. That's a big popular fraud on eBay right now. The company that makes that hat, they actually do send you a hat. I'll give them credit for that. They actually do send it to you. But they have a box about 3 inches by 3 inches. And they take this hat and they squish it and smash it and ball it up and put it in this box and seal it up and mail it to you. You've seen a picture. I have put a picture on those ads showing what the real box looks like, what the hat looks like when it comes out of the box. You've seen that picture. Those hats, the video that they show you of the hat and the manufacture of the hat and so forth, those are all coming from Herbert Johnson, which is the company that makes the hats. And they sell them for $508. in American money. They don't sell them to you for $39. So for you to think that you're going to get something for $39 that is that nice, you're just not going to. It's not going to happen. So you might as well just take your money and set it on fire and throw it into the wind. The only thing bad there is you might catch your neighbor's house on fire. So maybe that's not a good idea. Well, you can do it anyway. It don't matter to me. So let's see here. What do we got? We got another 5 minutes or so. Let's see, Star Trek. Now, a lot of what I have not liked about, going back to Star Trek, about Discovery is all the oddball characters they're bringing on board that, no, okay, hey, wait a minute. Here's what I actually do want to talk to you about. On Strange New Worlds, they have incorporated, I'm trying to think of her name. She was in Scrooged, the Christmas movie with Bill Murray, where she played the ghost of Christmas Future. And she is now playing an engineer on Strange New Worlds. And I like her. God, I wish I could think of her name. But I'll think of her name and mention it next time. But anyway, you can look it up and see. She is really a good actress. I really liked her in Scrooge. She kind of went over the top on Scrooge. And she did a lot of stuff. She was in Taxi. She played Latka's wife on Taxi. That was Andy Kaufman, his wife on the show, not his real wife. And she's always played kind of an offbeat character, and she's playing another offbeat character here on Star Trek also. But I like it. I like how they do that with the engineers. The last few engineers, now aren't they eventually going to have to bring Scotty on board? Because they had Scotty, the voice, on the time travel episode of Strange New Worlds, where Spock was in the Jeffries tube trying to repair something, and you could hear Scotty's voice talking to him. So eventually they're going to have to show Scotty, I would think. So I don't know what they're going to do about that. Maybe they're going to bring on board his son that was in, what was it, the fan-made film about Star Trek, New Voyages. I always forget if it was New Voyages or the other one. Because there were two that I really liked, New Voyages and Star Trek Continues. Those were the two that I really cared for. I liked the way they were produced and very well done. Good sets. Whether they used the same sets or not, I'm not sure about that. I would think some of these Star Trek things would use the same sets. You know, you've got the software entrepreneur, the gaming guy that does Continues, I believe. And he's the one that, he spent a lot of money building those sets, and he's the one that did the thing with Shatner where you paid, what was it, $750. It was a lot of money to get an autograph of Shatner and get your picture taken with him. That, I'm sorry. But I came from the day when you could get an autograph for nothing. You know, they didn't charge you to get an autograph. And they didn't charge you to take your picture with most. I never once paid a dime to get my picture taken with somebody. Never. So, I had one tried to charge me one time, but I talked him out of it. That was Richard Hurd, who was a Star Trek. Was in several the Star Trek series, and I think he was on Stargate too, as I recall. But he was a nice guy. Just wanted to charge me to get my picture taken with him, but I talked him out of it. He did it for nothing. I don't know if well, now he's dead, so he wouldn't charge me. It would be difficult to get my picture taken with him now, though. Sorry to say, poor Mr. Hurd. Like I say, he was nice enough, though. But that was back when this was the show that I knew most of these people at was kind of a second string convention. It was called StarCon. And it was run for about 3 years, I think. They did it. And then the gentleman who ran the show, Mike Stannard, and his wife split up, and she ended up with the show, I think, and then she tried to run it one more year, and a lot of the people that did it with her, did it with her husband, didn't want to do it with her because she wasn't real pleasant sometimes. So a lot of people just didn't want to do it with her. So, oh well. Those things happen. But, so like a lot of things, that show went away. Most of the shows have gone away. That's sad. You know, we used to have a show close to home here at this place called Sequoia Athletic Center. They had a monthly car, die-cast car, and they had a little bit of everything. You know, most of the toy shows are kind of spread out in terms of what they deal with. But like I said, there were Hot Wheels and plastic toys and not too many dolls. Dolls seem to have their own show. You know, doll shows are always taken over by the dolls. The dolls run the show. But that's why you see most of the time when it's a doll show, it's a doll show. It's not a doll and toy show because, like I say, they take over the show pretty much. Well, I'm getting bothered, not bothered, questioned by my daughter about going to lunch. We're all going to lunch together. I believe we're going to IHOP. Normally, my granddaughter and grandson and I go to IHOP for breakfast on Sundays. My wife and I did that. That was our thing for a couple of years. We went to IHOP for breakfast and we went to shopping for the week. And I still seem to go shopping on Sundays, but the breakfast went away for a while. And here recently, my granddaughter said, "Why don't I go with you?" And she and I went the first couple of weeks, and then my grandson, "Can I go too?" I said, "Come out." So the three of us go. So this morning, we were going to go early, but my daughter gets up early to go to work, so she kind of enjoys having a few days to relax and not have to get up quite so early. So she wanted to go to lunch instead of breakfast. So we're going to go to lunch. Probably going to go to IHOP. Although that will be decided once everybody gets up and starts talking. Oh, IHOP. That's breakfast, isn't it? I don't want breakfast. Even though they do have other things, but that's okay. So anyway, I'm going to go ahead and wrap this up. I thank very much the people that are watching the show. I'm sorry we don't have our regular show. I'm hoping Melody will be back with me next week. So you guys pester Melody. Say, Melody, we want you back on the show so we get a full hour show. I don't know. What can I say here? Oh, I've got a minutes. Let me see. Carol Kane. Yes, that is Carol Kane. Thank you, Kim. And happy Father's Day back. Ah, you do. You should get whoever Facebook user is. You should get together with Richard and do your Halloween cosplay together. What is an autograph? Come on. Thank you, Kim. Kim said Happy Father's Day. See, sure. There's Kim's comment. And there's somebody who said, what is an autograph? Come on. I know you know what an autograph is. I'll give you an autograph. See, send her in. So anyway, all right. I can't think any more to say. Kim, thank you very much for showing up. I'm sorry I'm going to cut this a little short today because we need to go to lunch and have my Happy Father's Day lunch. So you all take care of yourselves. Let me find the music here and I will play us out on our theme song music here. So let me get rid of this here. All right. So you guys all take care of yourselves and I'll be back next week and keep your fingers crossed. Maybe Melody will be back next week. And like I say, send her an email, pester her to come back on the show. She won't like it that I did that. All right, you guys take care of yourselves and happy Father's Day, and I'll see you next week.